Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Doc Talk. This is episode 168A.
I'm Cam, this is Julie.
Hello.
This week's Torah portion, we are starting with Genesis 32:2, going to the end of 36.
And if you would like to check out previous years, it is episode 21A and B, episode 73A and B, 122, and then this week.
This
168.
week. There you go. So it may be a little extra noisy today. We don't know why, but everyone is out and about. I think it's because we finally have sunshine.
It's a beautiful day.
In the neighborhood. All right, so let's look at a few things that we haven't seen before. The first thing I thought of was when I was reading this week, and when Jacob is wrestling, and he talks about being face to face, and I was like, that's a very Yom Kippur-ish term.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought, wait a minute, we have a Sukkot, because when he goes to set up his house and things like that, it says that they went to Sukkot. He set up the sukkah, right?
Uh-huh.
So then I thought, can I find something that makes us think of the Feast of Trumpets? So while it may be a stretch, I still thought I'd throw it out there. We
love patterns.
Yes, we do. I'm going to find a pattern. Twist.
We love patterns. No. How about you?
I just thought we'd look as a possibility. But, the Feast of Trumpets is a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, wait a minute. In 31:3, we have where the Lord is calling Jacob back. He's calling him back. So I'm like, that's to get your attention, right?
Right.
Then we have where he wrestles. He's got the face-to-face. Mm-hmm. And then we have, once he's in the land and he settles, he's Sukkoting it, okay? He's got a sukkah. So I just thought, it's kind of the fall feast idea.
Yeah.
Which then I started thinking, to be honest, that's exactly how we work. We first get the call, mm-hmm. and then we have a face-to-face with the Lord, mm-hmm. where we really work on who we are and accept who he is as fully king. I mean, you go through that whole situation of now walking out what you've accepted, and then you let him dwell among you. You dwell with him and he dwells in you. There's your sukkah.
Yeah.
There's your Sukkot. And I thought, I love that because that really is our walk. And that's the way it has to be since Messiah died. That's the way it's been set out. And we're still waiting for the fall feast to be fulfilled. And yet here we are in Torah seeing continuous hints of the fall feast and how they're walking, being walked out at that time.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And in Acts we have where Paul has his face-to-face with Yeshua.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, love it. All right, so, I guess I should give you the other scriptures too. It's in 32:30 with the face-to-face, and it's 33:17 where we have him setting up the Sukkot for settling for his family. All right, so one of the other things I saw this week that I thought was interesting was we have the presentation of mixing and what that looks like. So if you look in chapter 36, we see where Esau has clearly mixed with the people of Seir, and I'm probably not saying that right, but that's what we're going for. Okay, and so they're mixing, and this is the generations in which he's created in that mixture. And then we have Jacob on the other side, who has the presentation to intermarry. We see that in chapter 34. Mm-hmm. All right, it's being, hey, we're going to intermarry. This is great. You're going to get our daughters. We're going to get your daughters. Yet they look different. And by this, we see that Esau does it. And he's got all these generations, but you notice they're all outside the land.
Right.
Jacob doesn't do it, and he's in the land. And again, because you can't mix the Canaanite. You can't do that. And so it makes me still think that while Simeon and Levi, they all had an idea to deceive, but Levi and Simeon went further, right, to kill them. But again, the Lord used that because it foiled the plan to make all of Jacob's sons illegitimate to inherit.
Right.
And we only have, we have 11 sons born outside of the land. Yet if you notice in 36, we have Esau, who's got, I think it's 5 or 6, I think it's 5 sons, who are all born in the land. And then those kids go and marry and have their children outside the land. Yet Jacob's 11 that were born outside the land come into the land, marry, and have their children in the land. So again, it's not how you begin, it's how you end.
Ooh, yeah, that's
And
good.
so another thing, the first shall be last and last shall be first. I see that repeatedly this week because we have Jacob is definitely the last in having all the sons to make a great nation.
Right.
I mean, he's like bitty, and Esau's just growing. Now, granted, in chapter 36, we see all of Esau's line throughout the years, and this is what's happening while they're also in Egypt. And granted, Jacob, Israel, is growing also, and we read about that in more detail, obviously, in Exodus. Remember, that's a pattern we see where the Lord gives a snippet or, whatever he needs to into these tight verses, and then he'll elaborate on what he wants us to really know of in depth.
That's what Paul does. That's
exactly,
what we're seeing this week. There's so many hidden messages in this week's. Like Luke is giving a recount of Paul's conversion.
Yeah.
But yet, if you read in Galatians, read in Colossians, read in Corinthians, he
fleshes it out.
Yes, more detail about what really happened.
Which is funny. I didn't think about it, but
time.
Here again in Acts, we have Paul's conversion, and we have, in a way, we have Jacob's conversion. And while it's
not really a conversion, it's more
a completion. It's a completion. Because in all honesty, when you go back to 28, where he's running from Esau, right, and he's going, and he's there with the pillar, right, and then he's told he's going to go out. Well, then when he's coming back in, he's still running from Esau. He's got to take care of that before he can return to the pillar.
Right.
It's that process, and I find it interesting because we really see where that. It's kind of like precept upon precept. He can't get to the next one until he deals with his brother. Yes. And we see that in Matthew, where it says that before you approach the Lord, put down your gift and go to your brother if your brother has something against you, right? Well, I'd say definitely Esau had something against him.
Yeah, it reminds me of people today, how they will say no to something, run from the Lord, but when they come back to the Lord, they still have to deal with that thing there.
Absolutely.
That they ran away from.
You saying that made me think of this. So there was something else that I saw that I thought, oh, wait a minute. This week starts with, or last week ended and this week starts with the two camps, right? Where Jacob comes in, he sees the two camps.
Right.
And then we see a little bit further down where that's exactly what Jacob does. He separates them into two camps. I thought, I wonder if we're seeing another chapter 31 idea and 30 where the Lord's the one that showed him in a dream how to do the sheep
sticks,
and the goats, the sticks, and now then he did it. Okay, so is that what happened here? When the Lord showed him two camps, whether it was the angelic coming to meet him and then him going to meet the angelic, the vertical and the horizontal, or however it's angelics versus angelics, whatever it is, the recognizing it and then going, oh, God, this is familiar. I'm going to separate us into two camps.
Right.
So the Lord's actually showing him exactly how to approach Esau. I don't know, just kind of off thought, but I was like, why not? The Lord's done it many times where something just comes to your mind and it's something he's planted there. He'll let you see to be that example in the right time.
Like this week with Paul, where he gives him the vision of Ananias.
Right. Oh my gosh. They go together. It's like overlap.
Everything you're saying, I'm like, that's in this week's Torah portion.
All right. So another little thing this week that I thought we'd talk about has to do with, actually there's two. And one is the circumcision. So, when we go back to 34, notice that the sons are like, hey, we can't do anything with you unless you bear the sign. Now, when we look at 36, we have almost the opposite where Esau is going over to Sarah and he's taking on their look. But here, Jacob's kids are like, look, you have to take on ours. Yet, Paul talks about this in Romans 2 about whether you're circumcised or uncircumcised, the point is, how are you walking? And that really, these people weren't taking on, the sign of the covenant to go into a relationship with the living God. They were taking it to get stuff. And I know we've talked about that before, how sometimes in religious, atmospheres and churches or whatever, synagogues, whatever it is, that we take on an appearance and we want to claim that godly side that will benefit us, but not that actually requires a relationship. And again, Esau and Jacob, you're seeing that. And, they're one family, yet they have to be pulled apart. We see that with Lot and Abraham. We saw that with, actually Laban and Jacob, right?
Right.
And we see that again also. And I don't really know what to do with this verse. I find it interesting. But it's in 36, verse 6. Well, 7 and 6. It says, "And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the beings of his household and his herds and all the beasts and all his possessions, which he had gained in the land of Canaan." Now, he is prospering and getting all of his wealth from Canaan, okay?
Okay.
"And went to the land away from the presence of his brother Jacob." Remember, that is the actual blessing that Jacob gave to him, that he would live away from the land.
Isaac gave to him.
Isaac, yes, thank you. Jacob was not giving anything. He was running. And then verse 7 says, "For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land of their sojourners could not support them because of their herds." And I thought, wait, when were they ever together?
Yeah.
Definitely like Lot, but when were they ever together in the same land that it couldn't support them all? Because remember, in the first part of chapter 32, he sends a message to Seir to get his brother. And then his brother comes back into the land, and then he wants... Esau wants Jacob to go back to Seir, so obviously he's already there.
Yeah.
So here is my thought. At some point, if this is true, okay, it's complete midrash, Esau came to recognize that everything Isaac had was Jacob's. Therefore, what Isaac had was Jacob's, therefore they couldn't both dwell in the land. Yeah. So he left with what he had gotten, and obviously his dad let him leave with, he gave him some sort of starter kit, right? Something, like here's your down payment for your business, go set it up, because he prospered. He's still of that family. He's still going to do well. The Lord's going to bless him, all right, to do and go the way in which he's supposed to go. That's just going to help strengthen Jacob in the end.
It reminds me of the assembly. Mm-hmm. The greater assembly that Yeshua talked about. Many are called, few are chosen. Ooh, right?
That's good.
So you have Esau representing the many,
mm-hmm.
and you have Jacob representing the few.
Right.
But like you said, they have to be separated.
Right.
Could that be what we're seeing now? Could there be a separation of the many and the few, because that's just what has to happen?
Right. And
it's the pattern. So
that separation was required before the full blessing was given. Again, and it's interesting because here in 32, where we have the name being given, right?
Uh-huh.
And he says, you shall no longer be, let's see, how's it go? It says, your name is no longer called Jacob, but Israel, because you have striven, however you say it. You fought a lot. With Elohim and with men and have overcome. All right. Yeah, again, we see that when they go to Bethel, when they go up, and now it's almost like, okay, now it's complete.
Yeah.
So now, you know what? Now you're Isaac. Because he's not called Isaac until after that. Jacob is not called. Jeez. Oh, are y'all confused? I'm confused. Hold on. He's not. Jacob is not called Israel until after that. After they've given all their idols. Which I'll close on this. I did notice something, and if I said it before, I don't remember. I don't remember the fact that Jacob hid all the idols. So what I mean is Rachel had to hand him the idols.
Yeah.
So there was no doubt. We've always said, do you think Jacob knew that Rachel had them? And I've always thought, I don't know. I mean, she could have just dug them. But it clearly says that he took them all and he took care of it, which again represents and points to Messiah. Messiah will take all of ours, and then he's the one that will take care of it. Yeah. We don't get to just put it in the hole.
Right. Ooh,
he takes care of it.
He takes it.
Yeah, he takes it. So anyway, that's where we're going to stop today. I hope that you guys have been able to follow me in my blah, blah, blah. And if not, just rewind and listen to it again. And maybe she can help you sort it out in correcting me. So anyway, have a marvelous day, a marvelous week, and we'll see you on the flip side with Julie and Axe. Shalom!